fight the dragons and
Thanks for joining us from the Oklahomans Video Studio. I'm Dave Morris alongside this gentleman, Michael Barron, Artistic Director with Lyric Theater. Currently, Big Fish is playing down the street at the Civic Center Music Hall. Michael, good to see you again. Thanks for stopping by this afternoon.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
It runs through Saturday over at the Civic Center Music Hall. Last night, as we tape this, and as we're live on the street corner at Sheridan and Robinson on Wednesday, last night was opening night. How'd it go?
It was one of the most magical opening nights I've ever had. And I don't say that lightly.
And why is that?
Because I talk, theater people talk in superlatives. But I must tell you, it is one of the most special shows I've ever worked on. The show is so beautiful, magical, and honest about father-son relationships. And I think that we've been building it for months. We've been planning it for a year. And all of the elements just came together. The costumes are beautiful. The set is one of, if not the prettiest set Lyric's ever done. It is just a stunning, it's almost like going to the Museum of Modern Art, how beautiful it is. And the music is touching and soaring, and it's a great story. It's kind of funky in that it's a father who, he's a traveling salesman, and he tries to pretend his life is greater than it was and tells all these tales about meeting giants and mermaids and werewolves. So you go to those places, but last night, just as I'd hoped, the audience, you could just see them slowly getting drawn into the story. And by the end, probably not a dry eye in the house. It was really, and for a theater that large, to have everyone be touched so emotionally was pretty magical. And that's why we do it.
Talking with Michael Barron, he's the artistic director for Lyric Theater. Their production of Big Fish is currently playing through Saturday at the Civic Center Music Hall. Now, we had you on set a few months ago previewing all of the shows that you have this summer, and when we got to Big Fish, you said, yeah, that's right, Dave, you saw the pre-Broadway run in Chicago, I believe, and you said it was a troubled performance.
It was.
How about this performance, and how do you avoid a performance or production being troubled?
Well, the story is it's really a simple story, and as long as you keep to the simplicity of it, I knew it would work. And I think when they did it on Broadway, they had Broadway producers involved and lots, I would say, an overabundance probably of money thrown at it because people go to New York and want to see every bell and whistle. And this show is a Southern tale that takes place in Alabama, and it just didn't ring true in New York. And here, we've kept it simple, yet it's beautiful to look at, and right away, the audience is captivated by the story, and there aren't any distractions. And so you identify with the son, the father, the mother. I think everyone has had a dad that's probably embarrassed them at some point.
That's what parents do, right?
They do. They embarrass you, but you always really want to know who they are underneath. And this is a story about a man who's just gotten married and he's having a child, and he wants to know the most honest portrayal of his father, and the father, gives it to him in small doses, and finally, because the father is having to face the end of his life, it's about how they reconcile, and there's so much in the story that I think people will be touched by and identify with. And it's not often, too, an audience gets to see something they know nothing about.
Because this is a pretty new...
It is. It was on Broadway last year, so it's brand new. The composer, Andrew Lippa, is an amazing songwriter. He did The Addams Family on Broadway. And I think the show just didn't get the right production, honestly, and this, to me, is the right production. It's beautiful, and I think it's going to be a great week of performances. The cast, literally, every rehearsal, there were tears. And not because it's a sad show, it's just so moving, and particularly David Elder, who plays the lead, Edward Bloom, is giving an amazing performance that you just can't not be moved by it.
Tony nominee Emily Skinner, I believe, is in there as well.
She is in it. One of my favorite actresses. She was in A Little Night Music last year. She played Ursula in The Little Mermaid last year. And for her to come back to Oklahoma, she just actually put on her Facebook post, she called Lyric Theater the Broadway on the Plains.
Nice.
She said, it's amazing that this show is better than most things on Broadway right now. And she's been in most things on Broadway. And for her to say that means a lot. And I think because we have a wonderfully creative and hardworking group here in Oklahoma, and our expectations are high. and hers are too, so she's happy to come.
My Facebook timeline from last night and today has been nothing but positive feedback from those who saw the show last night, so congrats on that.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the sets. You built brand new sets on this. Adam Koch, I believe?
Adam Koch did the sets. He is, I would probably say, one of the hottest designers in America right now. I'm just lucky because I've known him for a while, and so we've worked together. He just did Sister Act and Billy Elliot in New England, and for him to come back every summer is such a treat. When I approached it with him, I knew we need to make bold choices, and we went back to not only the book it's based on, but the film, and
Tim Burton film, right?
The Tim Burton film, and figured out how the show would work on stage in a new way. And we saw what they did on Broadway and looked at it and created our own vision, and it's just magical. How the cast creates wonderful moments as well as the things that he created himself. A lot of this, we're also proud at Lyric too, because a lot of the set is recycled. There's a whole wall, I would say a fish-scaled wall that was made from recycled cardboard that we've been collecting all year at Lyric and around town.
Knowing that you had this production
knowing
coming
we
up.
had the production, so there are thousands of pieces of cardboard that were then ripped up, painted artistically, mounted. So there's a lot of that happened. That also adds to sort of the Southern folk art nature of the show.
Our producer, Paige Dillard, this is of course, the Lyric Bill, if you will, was there last night. She gives you rave reviews for Big Fish, but she mentioned it was interesting how the ensemble was used to move some of the set pieces.
We do, you know, most times in shows that I direct, and the actors usually know if they're going to get in a Michael Barron show that they're going to have to move stuff.
Have to roll up their sleeves?
They do, and part of it depends on the show. It occurs when we do Christmas Carol at Lyric too, but...
Now why is that? Why do they say that?
Because I like to create a community atmosphere and a sense of community, and that we're all in this together, including the actors. Certainly there are moments when magic should occur and that we don't want to know how it happened, but there's something to be said, like in ancient Greece and in Shakespeare's time, where everyone on stage is also responsible for the running of the show. And there's some wonderfully magical moments. We do go to a circus, and all the elements of the circus come together to actually form an elephant on stage, and the audience kind of gasped like they hoped they would.
Suddenly they realized.
And you didn't know what it was because you have.
So were you watching for that last night? How are they going to react to this?
Yeah, because we have two sort of circus women come on with holding these flags, and the flags became the ears, and one of the juggling balls became the head, and what you thought were part of the ring of the circus becomes his legs, and then we march it forward. And the audience, it's pretty magical, and that's what lyric and theater does best. If you want to see something realistically played out, you go to the movies. If you want to see something imaginatively played out before your eyes, you come to the theater. And the more times I can do that in all of my shows, where things are created in front of your eyes, the better. We did that with Oklahoma. When at the very beginning of Oklahoma, we started with the bare stage, and I said, you know, I'm going to show you how we're going to set up the farm, and it got applause every night. And then you just leave it, because then we buy into the magic, and we buy into where the story is going to take place.
One last question on this topic. So is this a meeting that you have with Lynn Kramer, the choreographer, on this, and say, hey, here's the idea, how do we make this, and it ties into her plans as well?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, for example, there's a story that we do a Big Fish about a witch. And the Broadway one, there was a witch and a bunch of chorus people that were dancing trees. And I saw that and went, oh, that's a fun number, but what is the song really about? And the song is about how the witch tells Edward, she foretells how he's going to die. I said, well, if that's the case, and maybe he really did meet a witch, what would that be? So instead of this sort of weird priestess with dancing trees, I said, you know, let's take this to Alabama or somewhere near New Orleans, and the witch now is sort of a voodoo priestess, and they're no longer dancing trees, but they're her minion, and it's more of a New Orleans funeral parade with umbrellas and a coffin. And so when I give her those things, I say, okay, this is the world I want, and then she listens to the music and decides, oh, okay, well then this is the kind of dancing that would work. And how do I continue the story through dance that the script has started? She just did amazing work on this show. And I think, too, even last night, she said this is one of the most magical things she's ever worked on. Because the script gives you lots of freedom to be creative, as long as you stick to the story.
You can catch the magic as well, Big Fish, over at the Civic Center Music Hall. He's Michael Barron. Michael, thanks for your time today. Congrats on opening night. I never know when I talk to theater people, should I say good luck, congrats, any of that?
Yeah, it all applies.
Good vibes, good vibes.
It all applies. Much success.
Much success.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, now that the show's open, we're good.
Doesn't matter.
Knock on wood that everyone stays healthy. But you know, before that happens,
it's not like it's Spider-Man or something. People are not dropping off the stage, right?
So you had to say that.
I had to say that.
You had to say that. No one flies in the show, so that can't happen.
I'll edit that out of this. Michael Barron, thanks for stopping by as always. We appreciate it. Again, Big Fish over at the Civic Center Music Hall, Lyric Theater production. Tickets start at $25. Grab them for yourself, I believe, at lyrictheaterokc.com.